Hi, my name's Rob Scott from UC Today, bringing you the latest news and conversation from the unified communications and collaboration industry. So today's talk is centered on powering partners with HD video. And to help explore this topic, I'm joined by iotum and two of their partners, Phone.com and Wii Conference. So welcome everybody.
Hello, Rob.
Hello, welcome from all corners of the globe today. So we've got good evening, good morning, good afternoon, but thank you for joining me. Jason, as today's sponsor, would you mind just doing a quick intro? Tell us a little bit about yourself and the company, please.
Yeah, sure. So I'm president of iotum, which is a global provider of programmable voice and video, as well as wholesale video collaboration solutions under the brand name Callbridge.
Great, thank you very much. And Joel.
My name is Joel Maloff. I am the Senior Vice President and Chief Compliance Officer for Phone.com, which is a unified communications as a service provider, providing services mostly to small to medium-sized businesses in the U.S. I'm also responsible for the Channel Partner Program, where we are a partner of Callbridge, but have channel partners ourselves.
Welcome, Joel. And Harsh.
Hi, Rob. My name is Harsh Ruparel. I'm the Vice President and Chief Operating Officer here at Wii Conference. We are iotum partner based here in India. We are a company who is mainly focusing on video conferencing stack as a Wii Conference brand here in India and globally in Asia's market.
Great, thank you. A very warm welcome to you all. And a good place to kick this conversation off, I think, Jason, would be to kind of let's all just talk about the state of the market. But, how do service providers and channel partners compete against the likes of Microsoft Teams and Zoom? And really, has the battle been won? Who's left on the field?
Yeah, it's an interesting debate point because, as we're recording this, it's towards hopefully towards the end of the COVID crisis globally. And what we've seen in our products and with our customers is there was a huge bell curve of usage as people were sort of shifting around and trying out different services and so on. And we've sort of evened out into a new normal. So my perception of it is that, Microsoft definitely has an edge because they've got so much money and they've got a very good development team focused on those sorts of experiences. And when Microsoft puts their mind to something, they tend to invest very heavily in it and have some good innovation. Not always. I mean, you can see it with Edge, where they've not succeeded despite hundreds of millions of dollars in research. But I think in this one with Teams, they've got a half decent product. I think Zoom is still very, very strong. I think Cisco still has a lot of opportunity. But there are a lot of niches out there, and there are a lot of customers who don't necessarily want to be aligned with a very large provider like Microsoft or Cisco or Zoom. Really, they want to have more control over their privacy. They want to have more control over their data. They want to have more control over the type of experience that they provide to their customer base or to their channel base. And for that, there are a lot of opportunities that remain. I think also there is an opportunity for companies such as ours or such as any other company that's focusing on video communications to provide different types of experiences based on the different verticals that they serve. So we're seeing a lot of traffic right now in opportunity for medical services or retail services or educational opportunities or even new types of experiences that have nothing to do with a bricks and mortar analogy where there's a new type of interaction between an agent and a customer. So I think that there are a lot of opportunities that remain, and there's a lot of opportunity for customers of the big companies to diverge from their main focus. So adding value to Teams, adding value to Zoom, adding value to Salesforce. Like there's a lot of opportunity, a lot of movement right now to create a new type of experience for their customers or partners.
Thanks, Jason.
That's my line. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. And Joel, from your perspective, how do you compete against these video giants?
So that's a great question. Phone.com is first and foremost from heritage what used to be called a hosted PBX cloud-based communication service. We've got nearly 40,000 business customers that are using us primarily for telephony, but we're adding additional functionality. We had created our own video offering, and we had one of those decision points that often happens in a business where we needed to make a determination as to what were we good at and did we do a make versus buy. We ran into Jason and his team, and it became very clear to us that they could be our outsourced arm for being able to compete in video service. Rather than having to dedicate resources to doing it ourselves, they've already done that. That has proven to be very important for us. Jason mentioned COVID. We had been in discussions with Callbridge prior to COVID happening, and it was right at that time where we began implementing the service. We have, as I mentioned, a large number of direct customers, but we also have a large number of channel partners who focus on these same markets. This has proven to be very effective for us, both as a channel partner for Callbridge, but for our own channel partners as well that need to be able to have these services. The last point that I would make is Teams is great. All of the other video services are very good, but they're not focused on that business of 5, 10, 15, 20 users. We are. And so we're able to use this service to compete. I said the last thing, and I apologize. I do have one more. Jason mentioned verticals. As I said in my title, I'm Chief Compliance Officer, and that largely was driven by our compliance with HIPAA in the healthcare area. It is very important when you're dealing with healthcare that you take advantage of the security functionality that is provided in the Callbridge platform. We've been able to win business because of that. So I think it's a great relationship. There's a plenty of market for all of us, and we are competing very effectively.
Thanks, John. Some really good points there, especially that it's a huge market and there is plenty of business out there for everyone. Harsh, how about yourself? You're based in India.
Right.
What's the market like over there for you?
So basically, we are a group of 4 companies, Virtusoft, Cloud Connect, Roam1, ECTL. And all of these companies are in the communication verticals. We are in the market for roughly around 10 plus years into this communication domain. The existing range of products are international roaming SIM MVNO, Cloud PBX, Cloud Contact Center, CRM. So, however, our recent associated with iotum Callbridge, we have added one more brand called Wii Conference, a video conferencing solution to our product listing. This has added a feather in our cap, basically. Timely collaboration with iotum and launch of video conferencing and services during the COVID has leveraged our businesses. It's a very, very competitive market, as everybody knows here in India, but our focus is mainly on the SMB segment. We offer 100% white label that nobody else offers. That's one of the upper hand that we have in regards to what the competition has. And we also offer a fully integrated systems, right? So we have a couple of API stack. That's one of the USPs that we go into the market when we offer Callbridge. That's one of the main thing that we have. And as far as the other things are concerned, as everybody is saying on the security part, I must tell you, we recently won, last night, we got one of the customers on board, which is one of the India's largest BFSI customer. And the major reason that they got on board with us was the security part, right? So I must say that we are on the go on the security part. The team at the iotum has done an amazing job, and it's a good one for all of us. It's a win-win for everybody of us in this particular area.
Great, thanks, Harsh. And Jason, if we think about, I mean, what I'm hearing here is speed and agility is really key to this marketplace, and especially this year as things have just been accelerated to a rate of knots. So how straightforward do you make that process of kind of building in and baking in, high definition video conferencing and communications into a stack, whether it's a cloud PBX stack or maybe another type of portfolio?
Yeah, the challenge, and what Joel referenced at the beginning of the buy versus build is really a critical juncture for a business when they're trying to decide on that type of focus, because the constant level of updates and tuning and network work that we have to do is it's endless. And when we started doing video, 6 years ago, we hadn't really anticipated that this would be the reality. We sort of had a bit of a utopian vision of how powerful WebRTC was, and that once you plunk in a WebRTC app, you're good to go, and sort of the internet and the inherent protocols within the codec just sort of looks after everything. But of course, it's not like that at all. And providing any sort of a global WebRTC service requires a lot of ongoing experimentation, a lot of ongoing updates, continuous DevOps work that involves software developers changing things and adding features, updating platforms. It really is a lot of work, and the team is quite exhausted pretty much all the time. I will say that if you're offering a very simple WebRTC connection, within a single geography. So for example, I don't know, from Manchester to London or someplace that doesn't have a lot of complexity in the networking environment, WebRTC is perfect and will work flawlessly. It's when you start jumping geographies and going into different regions that you start running into problems, and some of the inherent latency of the internet becomes quite visible. Those are the types of challenges that we have to continually overcome. And there's also the additional complexity of dealing with regulations in different regions. So, for example, for medical communications, there's HIPAA in the United States, PIPEDA in Canada, and I'm blanking on what it is in the EU, and I imagine now in the UK there'll be something else, since the UK doesn't play with anybody else anymore. So
GDPR at the moment, but not very much longer by the looks of things.
Right. So GDPR is sort of the gold standard on which everything else is based. So we have to maintain compliance with all of those different types of protocols. So that requires having privacy considered for every region. We have media servers and data servers in different geographies. We're looking at putting one in West Africa now, and that's to service customers in Ghana and Nigeria. So it's an ongoing complex problem that makes a service like ours and a group like ours quite valuable for people who want to only focus on the business and serving their customers and partners, as opposed to getting tied up in knots over the technology and protocol issues.
Great, thanks. And Joel, you wanted to get up and running quickly. iotum do a lot of the heavy lifting. Did that translate to reality for you? Was it as straightforward as it sounds?
The short answer is yes, and it always takes longer than you think. So for us, and it's almost the never-ending story. As Jason was explaining, we get requests, well, yeah, this feature is great, but can you do that? And I can tell you that internally within our company, it was not an easy sell because the folks that were responsible for our existing video service wanted to continue doing that. But you have to make some business decisions. And we very much view Callbridge as an arm of our company. We have customers that are requesting functionality. I don't want to say every day, but quite frequently. The responsiveness has been there. And candidly, we started these discussions probably close to a year ago. And we were able to implement just as COVID was taking off, probably in the March timeframe. And I can't see any way going back from this now. I'm certain I have engineers that would love to do that. We can't match what Callbridge brings to us, and we need to focus on what we do well and let them help us with what they do well.
Thanks, John. That certainly seems to be a common theme in this industry at the moment. Strategic partnerships, those partnerships being absolutely key to success. So, yeah, really echo that. Harsh, how's the journey been from your perspective? How easy or complex was it?
So basically, we started, I think, early this year. It was very, very new partnership for us with iotum, and we were exploring other opportunities as well. But finally, we decided to go with iotum. The main reason, as Joel and everybody is saying, is the complexity in the industry that we have, and the easiness. The main important thing is that, as Joel rightly said, it's a web kind of development arm for us every time, right? Whatever features that we demand for, whatever customer is demanding on the feature list, we just have to tell the team at the back end there, and they're up with the solution. And I've not seen any of the customers in the main run. We lost any of them because the team at the iotum is always responsible and quick enough to help us with whatever development that needs to be done in regards to the specific customers as well. It has been a good journey for us at this point of time. It's good working because it's very quick and responsive for all of us here.
I imagine that's really, really key, isn't it? And to agility, just that,
Yes.
being the size that iotum are versus some of these tech giants that, maybe take quite a lot longer to.
Rob, can I add a comment on that point?
Sure. Yeah.
One of the, I guess, implementations that we've done is that we have, I think, 2 different Slack channels with the iotum team, that if we have issues or challenges, we've got a channel. Our team would try to address it first, but then they can help us. And then we've got a more senior Slack channel that here's a new feature, here's a new idea. And it's really much like we've integrated them within our own organization. We don't have that with very many other partners or suppliers, and it works.
Yeah, that's really great. Well, I imagine music to everyone's ears, because having that channel into your partners and your providers is absolutely key, isn't it, to growth and success. So, thinking about the go-to-market, Jason, I'm keen to kind of understand how you make money in this market as a channel partner, taking on video, bringing that into maybe your unified communication stack. Can we kind of just jump through some examples of the things that you've seen that have been quite successful out there? Some of the quick wins and maybe some of the longer term strategies that have been applied.
Do you mean like specific types of examples of use cases, or are you talking more about like how the channel can make money?
Yeah, so how the channel can make money. So if they bring in HD video into their stack, they've just gone live. What kinds of strategies are the most successful out there that you've seen so far?
Well, this video, this recording that we're doing, this interview, hopefully will be evergreen. So, there's some timeliness to the period that we're doing this interview in. So right now, COVID is, going around the world, and it's very difficult to sort of predict what's going to happen next. So everyone has to have a video first strategy right now to maintain their business. And that can be, as simple as just a person-to-person communication between the person who's putting your sushi together to be delivered to your house. I haven't seen that kind of solution yet, although that would be really cool. To something as complex as conducting classrooms in a virtual environment, and that there's no dominant player right now, I think, in video classroom technology for schools. there's still a great amount of sorting going on there. So in terms of how businesses can make money in the channel, I think creativity is really the answer. We're working with one group right now who have a very clever way of addressing the retail experience that people cannot have right now at home. So if you're in the UK and you're thinking about shopping for dinner or something like that, you would generally go to Waitrose and wander the stacks until you find things that catch your fancy. But you can't do that as easily as you could prior. So there are new types of experiences that are emerging, and I think that's a big money-making opportunity for people, is to have the imagination to come up with those types of ideas, and then having a company like ours help facilitate that. When we look at tools like Slack, which is having problems this morning, or Microsoft Teams, we think of it as a completely design perfect solution, like a light bulb, like it can't get any better than it already is. But of course that's not true. And I field a lot of complaints from people about Microsoft Teams and the video experience with that. Just people saying, I can't believe Microsoft hasn't made the experience better. Well, you can make the experience better. I mean, Microsoft Teams is very open, so you can add and replace things like the direct communication, or you can connect into its API. So our solution has that functionality. We can use our API to augment or eliminate the Microsoft video solution. Ditto for Slack. So you can do things with the tools that are popular with people right now in businesses and schools and law firms and government and so on, and change their perception of how it's done. We're using right now, we're using Riverside FM, which I've not used before. So I'm looking at it, and it's an interesting and different way to approach a very common problem of how you record a video for a podcast or for a YouTube channel or whatever. And it's just interesting to see the things that they emphasize, and the little features. There's a little recording thermometer above my head and things like that. There's always innovation going on, and it's a totally different experience each time. I started with sushi, so I'll finish with sushi. I can't believe here in Toronto, where I live, that there are still new sushi places opening that have a different take on raw fish on rice. There's always new ways to combine and change experiences so that they are new and different. And whether that's pressed sushi or video, there's always opportunity for innovation, and that's where I think the opportunity lies for the channel to make money.
That's a really good point, isn't it? It's an application of the technology that creates the opportunity. So, Joel, from your perspective, what approach did you take? Because you've got a huge customer base there, 40,000 customers. So I take it you had an existing customer base to farm. Did you look in verticals or very specific markets as well?
Yeah, so let's be clear. Those 40,000 customers are not for video. Those are for our primary service, and we have a large number that are using us as a forwarding service, competitive with a Grasshopper here in the U.S. The video service is a much smaller number than that, but is growing rapidly. And so there are a couple answers to your question. The first part is that we're about 12 years old, maybe 13 years now, and we were an e-commerce play. You could come to our website, you could sign up, and so a large percentage of our customers are one or two users. We brought in the Channel Partner Program 10 years ago, and they bring in much larger customers. Again, we have some that have 150, 200 seats in a single location. And so over the period of time, we've had this dichotomy between our e-commerce customers and our larger customers, and we're really heading towards a middle. As Jason mentioned, COVID has changed everything. People are using video now in ways that, video was around before, but not like today. And so we are being asked for it. We are incorporating it in our solutions. And from a marketing perspective, we really fell into healthcare as a vertical. We had one of our customer service people was asked if we would sign a business associate agreement. No one had any idea what that was. This is 5 years ago. So it landed on my desk. I figured out what it was. To make a very long story short, we became HIPAA compliant, and that is now probably one of our most prominent verticals. But you can only do that if you can sign a business associate agreement that says that you have gone through all of the steps to become HIPAA compliant. As a side note, if anyone ever says that they're HIPAA certified, you should run the other way, because there is no certification authority. So we've leveraged that. We are HIPAA compliant. One of the requirements when working with Jason and his team was that they needed to be able to sign a business associate agreement for business associate with us, so that they then avow that they are following the compliance requirements, and we can then assert that to our covered entity customers, like mental health professionals, chiropractors, whatever they may be. And that's worked out very well for us. I strongly encourage a focus for differentiation based on meeting the needs of the vertical that is out there.
That's great, Joel. And I'm sure we all agree with that. I think the opportunities lie within those kind of specialist niches, don't they? Harsh, from your perspective, how did things go at Wii Conference?
So everything went well for us. As I told you about, we are a company who's already more than 10 years in this particular communication domain. So our approach was a little bit different than others. So we already had an enterprise customer base that we had out for roaming business and for other communication verticals that we had. So we directly went and approached them directly in that regards, but we didn't went them as only a video conferencing tool, right? We went and approached them as a video collaborative tool rather than just giving them as an app kind of thing or an WebRTC tool. We had a different approach of saying and going into their LMS system, which they basically use, or the CRM that they use, right? From the APIs that we get from at the backend at iotum, it was a unique proposition that we pitched it to our customers and saying, rather than having just one kind of WebRTC, why don't you go and integrate into your CRM or LMS rather than your employees going differently and using different tools and applications for this particular video conferencing. And that's what customers loved about it. And one of the most interesting win that we had recently that I was talking about in my earlier discussion was one of the BFSI customer base. We are one of the largest BFSI customer base here in India, roughly around 10,000 sales force. We are just getting into the first phase of trial with them. And the use case is very simple, where they have integrated into their LMS system, right? So they don't have to go and have a different application where the IT department of that company restrict or they do blocking of all stuff. So there is no other kind of logic that comes into the picture. But what we are doing something unique as well, and we are building up with iotum into our stuff, is we're also planning to combine a multitude of enterprise collaboration tools in a very single interconnected platform, right? Which includes video conference. We are one of the VNOs, virtual network operator based here in India. We are one of the only certified virtual network operator based in India. So we have the license for cloud PBX, cloud contact center, enterprise chat, enterprise calendar, and cloud storage. So we'll collate all of them and bring it as one stack that's going to be an enterprise kind of stack for every customer here based in India, and wherever the license are allowed to sell it up. So that's something very unique that we are going to work out, and we are working on it.
Yeah, no, I love that API approach. I think, of course, you can do so much with APIs, right? But applied in the right way, provide those organizations with those APIs, they can differentiate and innovate as well, can't they? So, yeah, fantastic. Hey, great. So I suppose final question for me would be back over to Jason in terms of, what's the road ahead look like for video? Or can we expect more from video going forward?
Yeah, I think that we're going to see video just become completely ubiquitous, and we won't even think about the platform that we're using or the service that's underpinning it. There will be a complex matrix of service providers underneath that, of course, but just having video is quickly becoming a must-have for any business, any organization, any charity. They must provide this, and that human contact is becoming a very important part of any kind of outreach or any kind of communication for any organization. So I think we'll think less about whether we're using Zoom or WebEx, and we'll just simply be using video. It'll just be completely integrated into the services that we're using. That's what I predict.
Yeah, that's a really good point, isn't it? And Jason, for anyone out there looking to find out more about iotum and Callbridge, what's the best way to get in touch?
Yeah, so I would go to callbridge.com. You can also send me an email. I'm available by email at jason@iotum.com, or you can go to iotum.com and reach out to any of us via there.
Perfect, thank you. Hey, it's been great to see everyone. I hope you've enjoyed talking to me today as much as I have talking to you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Rob.
Thank you very much. Pleasure talking to you guys.
And that's it from us. If you've enjoyed today's session, please do give us a quick like or a share on social media. It's always appreciated. But for now, I'm Rob Scott from UC Today. Thanks for watching.